Key intel about the state of the world. Coming up, Anthony was in here going, man, you got to hit these headlines. Look at this stuff on your desk. I know. Taxpayers spend $3.5 million to find out why lesbians are fat. And then you see the joke headlines about, you know, $5 million for shrimp on treadmills. Well, actually, it was shrimp on Prozac on treadmills. And you ask, what is all this about? Well, I've been inside the secret areas, restricted areas of the University of Texas Psychology Department. That's basic. I talked about this 12 years ago, and I was allowed in twice. And I had to wait till the guy left to go be at MIT before I could talk about it. It was part of the rule. He could even say where he went. He didn't think they could figure it out. But it was all about basically how to screw up human sexuality and just how to make us alone with no family when you're 65 so they can euthanize you. Because, see, they know no matter how much drugs, how much brainwashing, somebody kills your kid, somebody does something wrong to your family, you might fight back. And there's enough of us, even when they got the robot armies ready, that they still might get defeated. And again, this is the end of humanity. Humans aren't going to go to space anymore. Military isn't. Forget just putting women in combat. That's just to get rid of the military and break it down. This is all the preparation. They didn't do it until they wanted to sabotage it. It is simply incredible. ISIS to send members of feared all-female police to Europe disguised as tourists to attack holy sites and spark religious war against Christians. And they've been caught putting out new fake videos with the Pentagon. And again, not our average troops, but the criminal takeover artists that are in control. That's all coming up. The latest on Iran, the latest on Russia. Huge video on Infowars.com. U.S. conspiring with Russian oligarchs to overthrow Putin, says Duma member. And I love, Watson wrote a great article, but I love how there's this 25-minute interview with one of the top guys in the Duma. And people say, is this true? It's on record the State Department's trying to overthrow Russia. It's on record they overthrew Ukraine. It's on record they're trying to overthrow all these other countries that surround Russia. They don't even deny it. I mean, and then even in Russia, the reporter's going, oh, yeah, what's your proof? Because it's a young trendy. And the guy keeps explaining, do you understand this is 21st century war? I can't pick up the phone and call the media. Most of it's Western run. And let people know it's a war because we're designed to face tanks and soldiers, an exact quote of mine. This is a 21st century new war, covert. It's a round table British Empire model where they buy off your top 1,000 people, promise them seats in power when they take over, or if they fail on the coup day, they've got planes waiting to get them out. And you watch this video, it's everything. And that's what's crazy. The Russians aren't perfect, but at a primitive level, it's still male-driven, basically almost prehistoric, but super smart, super high IQs. Yeah, they're drunk. Yeah, they fight a lot. Yeah, I mean, whatever. The point is that Russians only wake up when they're under attack. And so that's historically known. And so they now have state-run TV going, the plan is to destroy our family. Here are the documents. The plan is to, you know, put stuff in the vaccines. They get it because they already went through it under communism and their population went down by more than 30%. They've already been in the jaws of this forever. They've still got corrupt KGB people. They've still got socialism. They've still got problems. They've still got vestiges of it. But they really get what's going on. And when you get in the darkest levels of tyranny, light is that much brighter. And secretly, most of the former KGB people at the highest levels, Vladimir Putin and others, made pilgrimages to Alexander Solzhenitsyn and would basically, in closed-door meetings, break down and cry and apologize for their betrayal of Russia and finding out that oligarchs had financed the bring down of Russia in 1917, British and U.S. banks, the Bolsheviks, 40,000 folks from New York City and New Jersey were brought in alone, and the Russians now get it. That's why they declassified 10 years ago the KGB files that McCarthy was right. So the truth is the globalists want to bring down Russia because who would have ever thought, and they're scared to death. I'm not lionizing them. They're corrupt, they've got problems, but they don't want to kill themselves. They don't want to have robots take over. They don't want to give up their humanity. So they got state-run media going, they do not want us to have children. They want you to be gay so you will not have children. Here's the document. We are not against gay people, but this is a plan. I mean, they're really, they will ban mother and father. That's now happening here. The nanny state is to make you totally subservient to phase you out. No dodgeball, no tag, no running, no shaking hands, no nothing. And so basically, even the Telegraph admits Russia collapsed. Much of that was real. But their KGB operatives in training, like a wind-up toy or an Echo, sleeper cells are still operating. And let me prove this. Do you know who created the NeoCon movement that basically runs the Obama administration today and the Republican leadership? On record, look it up. Trotsky, Leon Trotsky, the #2 guy in the Soviet Union under Lenin. Stalin didn't like him. Trotsky fled with hundreds of his operatives to Mexico, where he was killed with a ice axe. She used to chop up blocks of ice paid by Stalin. When they failed, they all came to the U.S., got Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Ford funding because they just funded them 30 years before to go take over. They weren't running to the U.S. because that's where they came from. They originally came from Russia and Poland, were sent back over to take over. Stalin kicks them out. They come over here, and now they are the Republican Party. Hardcore Trotskyites. Hardcore. They give you the Patriot Act, everything else. I mean, we're in deep trouble. We are in deep, 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 deep trouble. And I only wish Stalin would have got all of them. I got to be quite honest. Trotsky, these people, that's some bold statement there, but I got to tell you, Stalin was horrible as hell as well. I wish he did. I mean, Hitler, all of them. I don't want economies based on this. The point is that we're in deep trouble. The NeoCons went and took over Harvard, and they went over and took over the Chicago Business School. This is all admitted. Ron Paul gave a 45-minute speech called NeoCon back in like 2006, 2007. Go watch it, where he talks about all this. So you wonder why we're under this now. The Trotskyites have always wanted to destroy Russia. Take the member of Polish royalty, known as the Duke of the Milk Nobility. That's his title. Zbigniew Brzezinski absolutely hates the Russians, and his family had ties to the German-backed side of Poland in World War II. Same story yet again. Zbigniew Brzezinski wants to destroy Russia. And look, here's the deal, folks. The globalists hate America, too. They're shutting us down. We should be working with Russia in space exploration. We should be working with everybody. But no, the globalists want to bring down any sovereign independent nation. And yes, the czars were corrupt. Yes, they were decadent. They were in their own world. They were more removed than anything. Their minions were corrupt. And they were taken out and executed by their cousins, the British royalty. In fact, the czar was almost an identical twin to the King of England. Look it up. Look up the czar next to his brother, the King of England. You could not tell the difference between them. They were so bred from the exact same German and Transylvanian bloodlines. No Russian in him. They were German royalty that had taken over all of Europe. There hasn't been British royalty in England, folks, since the Tudors. And so, by the way, I'm distantly related to all that. So you could say I'm as English as it gets. This is disgusting. Look at those two. You couldn't even tell the two apart. This is what breeding is, and they took them out. King of England is there with the bigger hat, and there's the Russian czar right beside him. All right, enough of that. I'm ranting. I'm going to stop right now.
Did you know that only 6 corporations control 90% of what millions of Americans see, hear, and read every single day? It's the illusion of choice. Think about it. The mainstream media is owned by only a handful of megacorporations with vested interests. But on the other hand, the internet is an interconnected network of billions of sources. So you can research information for yourself from multiple sources, or you can blindly accept what you hear or read in the mainstream media, never questioning what you are being told. This gives you a false sense of reality. I mean, do you actually know what you think you know? Or have you been programmed to accept someone else's version of events? Think about it. This is Darren McBreen, and I want you to break the matrix at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv and listen to The Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on your mind.
your desk. I know. Taxpayers spend $3.5 million to find out why lesbians are fat. And then you see the joke headlines about, you know, $5 million for shrimp on treadmills. Well, actually, it was shrimp on Prozac on treadmills. And you ask, what is all this about? Well, I've been in... And again, this is the end of humanity. Humans aren't going to go to space anymore. Military isn't. Forget just putting women in combat. That's just to get rid of the military and break it down. This is all the preparation. They didn't do it until they wanted to sabotage it. It is simply incredible up human sexuality and just how to make us alone with no family when you're 65 so they can euthanize you. Because, see, they know no matter how much drugs, how much brainwashing, somebody kills your kid, somebody does something wrong to your family, you might fight back. And there's enough of us, even when they got the robot armies ready, that they still might get defeated. Inside the secret areas, restricted areas of the University of Texas Psychology Department, that's basic. I talked about this 12 years ago, and I was allowed in twice. And I had to wait till the guy left to go be at MIT before I could talk about it. It was part of the rule. He could even say where he went. He didn't think they could figure it out. But it was all about basically how to screw it. Key intel about the state of the world. Coming up, Anthony was in here going, man, you got to hit these headlines. Look at this stuff on